most definitely. What's up?
Take me on home to the asylum.
I'm vibing.
Never alone in the asylum. Anarchy ruled, it was wild, but through it all you never smiled. Joke's on you, I'm in your head, so look who's laughing now. Remember in Arkham City, I killed your girl, so pretty. That was the night you let me die. But when I looked you in the eye, that's when I knew we'd be together. Look who's laughing now. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I feel you dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I am the clown, prince of crime. And we've had a hell of a time. You're part of me, I'm part of you. And now there's nothing left to do. I just can't wait till I'm in control. Who'll be laughing then? I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. Oh yeah, I think I can taste your fear. my time is near. I'm in your blood, I'm so alive. I only wish you'd let me drive. It won't be long till I make you kill. Who'll be laughing then? Barbara's dead and I'm laughing. Ah! Jason Todd's dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm even dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I'm laughing. I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. I'm cock-a-doodle-doo. All because of you. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. Ah, I fill you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I filled you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you.
Hi. How's it feel? How's it feel for me to be part of you? Pretty good, right? Pretty good. How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling good on a lovely, lovely Wednesday. Straw Hat just says wet. That's all I need to know. Attaboy. Jesus Christ. Good God Almighty. Gross. Yep, gross is right. You're right, cursing user. How am I doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I did a good amount of building last night. I was like, you know what? I need some time to just do something different. So I went back to a build I haven't touched in a little while. I made a lot more progress. See? Choo-choo. It's an actual, like, functioning Hogwarts Express. Isn't that kind of cool? It's gonna be the full train. But I have a lot more to build before I get there. Looks like I also dropped a piece. Put that there. Figure it out later. So I'm good. I'm good. Got to do the Indiana Jones game. Choo choo. Yeah. Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah, dude, I've been sitting on these. I have this. I have the Lego Creator Pirate Ship, and I also have the Lego Gringotts Bank I have to build. I get to build. But these are the instruction manuals for the rest of the train. So, good amount of stuff still to do. I did... So this book is done. You build the front, like, actual engine. And then they have a book. The biggest book is actually for the rail car, because it has all the minis and stuff in it. And then they have one that's just the whatever, I don't know what you call it, coal cart, I guess. And then they have the actual platform for it to sit in front of. Once we've done that, then we're good. And then I think we'll start on the Gringotts Bank, because that one's like 3.5, 4 feet tall. Legos for Nerds, dude, yes. Yes. Lockie's expressed interest recently. He wants to start building Legos with me, so I might need to do that. It's gonna be good. Have you seen some of the weapon vids from Monster Hunter Wilds? Yeah, they all look great. I mean, that's one of those games where I'm like, I know it's gonna be really, really solid, barring some like amazing revelation. So it's one of those games where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna want to play it. So I don't like anything more that I find out about it now is just spoiling it. You know how that, like, there's some games where you just like go into a media blackout. It's like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to know more. Kind of like Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't need to know a lot more about Tears of the Kingdom. I knew that game was going to be solid, as did pretty much everybody else, because it's Nintendo and it's Zelda. So I didn't need them to like continue marketing it super heavily. Is that the Lego Titanic? Yes, sure is. And then the Pyramid of Giza, and then the Hogwarts Castle. Have you seen the info about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 reveals this month? Yeah, they're going to be at Gamescom, apparently. So I think we're going to see a lot. Can you talk about Black Myth Wukong for the next 6 days, please? I wish. I wish. You need a Lego iceberg and just slowly move it over multiple streams closer and closer. I mean, that would be a good inside joke. I'll tell you that. Bro's under NDA? No, unfortunately, this is one of those things. Like, when I'm under NDA, you guys will ask me, hey, are you playing Black Myth Wukong? And I'll be like, no comment. Which basically means yes, right? Because if the answer were no, I just say no. In this case, I can actually tell you I don't have it. I just don't. We made an oopsie at Summer Game Fest and just didn't talk to the Black Myth Wukong people because they were in like the back lot, and so I just didn't, like, it wasn't on our schedule, and we just spaced getting an email address from them. So yeah, we're just kind of sitting on the sidelines, but yeah. Horrible oopsie. Nah, the biggest oopsie ever was when I got invited to the red carpet premiere of the Last of Us HBO show, and I didn't see the email invitation because it was in my spam folder. If that doesn't make you instantly cringe, I don't know what will. Imagine getting that invite and then seeing it like the day after the premiere. Yeah. Check your goddamn spam folder. Oh, man. Yeah, that was a horrible oopsie. This is like, oh, bummer, I get to play the game with everybody else, you know? But that one was like, oh! Like, that one still hurts. That one still hurts. Oh, yeah. Sounds like you need an assistant. Yeah, kind of. Or just a better email manager. Fridolin, thank you for subbing with Prime over on Twitch. Thank you. Also, Jugular Toe, also thank you for subbing with Prime over on Twitch while we were off. That's awesome. Maybe they'll throw you a bone and invite you to the season 2 premiere. I mean, maybe. You better believe I'm going to be refreshing my spam folder regularly for that. Man, that one really hurt. That's why we have a spam folder emote that you see Pretty Eye using in chat on YouTube. That's why it's there, is because I think I discovered that like right before stream or on stream. And so for the first like hour of that stream that day, I was just in a state of mental collapse. Did you see the Black Myth benchmark players peak at 80K? I didn't see that, but that's tremendous for a tool. Like, just something to test it. That shows a lot of people are interested, so that's fantastic. Yeah, that made me die a little inside. Yeah, no, it made me die a lot inside. Yeah. I'm just trying to avoid any info on these upcoming games. I'm trying the whole just learn about a game when it comes out thing. I think that's the way they handle a lot of these games that people are really excited for. Just don't even risk spoiling it. Gage, thank you for the very generous $10 super chat. Hey Luke, I just got a new ROG Ally X and I've been playing tons of AC Origins and Ghost of Tsushima. Gotta say, it's an amazing handheld. Do you think it's the best handheld PC? I haven't tried the Ally X, but I have the ROG Ally and I love it. I had a Steam Deck that I ended up giving to my brother because I just wasn't really using it after I got the Ally. And it's because the Ally is just a Windows laptop, basically in a handheld form. It runs Windows. You can download Game Pass onto it. You can download the Ubisoft launcher, whatever. The Steam Deck, you can do that, but you have to go through like multiple layers of creating a Steam app for the Ubisoft launcher, and then you have to go and partition out a separate part of the drive to download stuff there. There's just a lot of hoops to jump through, and even then it doesn't work great as far as that's concerned. So I personally prefer the ROG Ally. I just prefer that as opposed to running stuff through layers and layers of containers to get it running that way. So in my opinion, it's really good. But I know some people in chat have also tried the Legion, what do they call it? Legion Go? Legion Go sounds wrong, but I think that's right. Legion something, whatever the Legion handheld is. Some people really like that. I'm kind of waiting for the next generational leap with them where performance goes up a lot, and then I'll probably upgrade from the ROG Ally. But right now it seems like the X is like a bigger battery variant, basically. What the hell is this song?
お前に会いに来たんだ。大変だったよ。
What the
お
hell?
前すげえ遠くにいるから。
Like, it's a good song. I don't know what they're saying. Wait, Witcher lo-fi beats? Do we gotta try this? Okay, color me intrigued. Ooh. Okay. Okay.
I'm vibing.
That's pretty good. Lo-fi Witcher beats. Not something I need, like I knew I needed in my life, but that's pretty solid. Microsoft is apparently developing an Xbox handheld. Yeah, apparently. And they're doing a lot of software stuff to prep for it. It makes sense. I mean, it's free money at this point. People like the handheld stuff. I think after the Wii U, a lot of people were like, oh, so people don't want handheld controllers and devices, which was the wrong thing to take away from the Wii U. So for like 5, 6, 7 years, we just didn't get any handhelds. And then the Switch comes out and they're like, no, people still like this. And everyone was shell shocked. Like, what? Oh, should have known that. Blake, thank you for the 2. Any music you're not a fan of? Any music genres I'm not a fan of? I'm trying to think if there's anything I legitimately don't like. Because I like some country, some good old Conway Twitty or Dolly Parton. Oh, baby, love that. Maybe like modern pop culture country I'm not a huge fan of. I genuinely don't like Taylor Swift's music. Not enough to like turn it off if it comes up on the radio, but like it's not anywhere on my Spotify, you know? But I listen to a pretty wide range. I listen to everything from like opera to Lil Wayne. Like I have a pretty wide, I guess, techno stuff. I don't really listen to EDM or anything. So I guess you could say that, but I don't dislike it. It's just not what I'm going to listen to, you know? Heresy, apologize to the queen. I mean, let's be perfectly honest about Taylor Swift. She ain't no queen. That title belongs to the actual queen, Dolly Parton, okay? And I will not entertain anyone who says differently. You say Taylor Swift is the queen and you don't give Dolly Parton the respect she deserves, you're perma-banned. Full stop. Full stop. Dolly is an actual angel. I'm braced because I feel like one day we're going to get a news story that comes out and it's like, oh yeah, Dolly Parton's been eating children and that's like her secret to her majesty or something. And I just don't know if I could handle that, you know. Bianca? I don't really listen to Bianca's music. No. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Taylor wishes she were Dolly Parton. Maybe in like 50 years. Maybe she can get there, but good God almighty, you can't just waltz up. Yeah, I know it's Beyonce, but in that one episode of 30 Rock, what's his name? Alec Baldwin's character, I'm spacing his name. But anyway, his character at one point has his mom over, and his mom is like, I've never liked the girls you've dated, especially that Bianca. And he's like, her name was Beyonce, Mom. And so ever since then, whenever I see Beyonce, I always want to say Bianca. So that's a deep cut. Sorry. Jack Donahue? 30 Rock. Donahue. Jack Donahue. Jack, Jackie Boy, Johnny, Jackie D, JD, Larry Braverman, Jack Delahaye, Jim Dennison, Victor, Jack Attack. Okay. I don't really know why this is useful to write out all the in-universe nicknames, but whatever. That's an old school classic show. It makes me feel so old to hear it's 2006 to 2013. Get ready for my fun cooker. Man, that's a throwback. That's a throwback. Rupert, thank you for the 20. And then I'll catch up on the others from Abhinav. This might be dumb. Do you think Microsoft will start running some of these new companies like they did with 343? Lots of contract workers, bad tech debt, keep bad upper management, etc. Or do you think that's a 343 thing? I mean, at this point, I wouldn't expect them to do anything different. They've demonstrated they don't know how to run multiple high-quality, world-class studios. Maybe they've figured it out now and things are about to change. But based on what we've seen today, up until today, nothing's really changed. Most of the upper-level management is the same as back then. So why would we expect it to be different? Like, Microsoft has a habit of just trying to throw money at their problems, and that can get you a little ways. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to manage what you buy. In the same way, like when I worked in commercial real estate, we would have these guys that would come in and they would just be like, hey, I've got $10 million in cash. I want to just throw at something. Can you find me like 4 $2.5 million deals? And so we'd find them some good deals and we'd present them, and then they would buy them all cash and just do that. But the problem was that they didn't have any infrastructure for management. They didn't have anybody managing their properties for them. They didn't have any connections within the industry locally, and they might not even live in the state. They might live in like New York or something. And so they'd buy these properties and then they'd get overrun with squatters or with, like there was the one time where we had like a drug kingpin pimp. I forget what his name was. His name was like Prince Silver or something like that. And they would spray paint his name all over the walls of units they'd break into. And it ended up losing him tons of money because like he just thought he could throw money at his problems, but he thought he could throw money at buildings and that would just magically be a good investment. And it's like, no, it's only a good investment if you can manage what you've purchased. He didn't have the infrastructure, he didn't have the support, he didn't have the staff to run it properly, and so he just threw money and lost a lot of it. Whereas somebody that went in with $2.5 million and had a good team, leveraged it out, could have bought the same number of properties, but managed it well and not run into any of those problems. You know, it's just how it works. But yeah, all of that to say, I fully expect that a lot of the same problems will rear their ugly heads once again. That would be my guess. Abhinav, thank you for the super chat as well. Thoughts on every Black Ops 6 cutscene getting leaked? I didn't see that every cutscene got leaked. I don't know what happened, but yeah, they've had a ton of leaks. Thankfully for them, I mean, a lot of the leaks seem to be doing, like, they seem to be helping and getting people more excited, which is kind of refreshing. Because normally leaks make games look really bad, or like just not as good as they could. But in this case, it seems like the leaks are actually getting people more excited. So I mean, I'm not going to be watching any of the like leaks like that. If there's a leak that pops out that just shows you like some gameplay feature or something and it can get you more excited, then it's like, sure, I'll check it out. But if it's like a narrative thing that's just going to spoil something for you, I'm not interested in that. Same with like, you know, when cutscenes were leaking for The Last of Us Part 2, or there weren't really any cutscenes that leaked for GTA 6. It was mostly gameplay stuff. But yeah, like narrative leaks, they're always taken out of context, you know? And it's really frustrating. And then Astromath, thank you for the salt and the super sticker. Thank you, my friend. Did I watch the new Until Dawn release trailer? I mean, yeah, I played Until Dawn back in the day, like 2015, with some friends. And so that's also a very nostalgic game for me. It was like right out of high school. It was one of those games we'd all sit on the couch and play together, passing the controller around. So I love Until Dawn. It's very near and dear to my heart. So to see it getting kind of a revamped release is nice. I hope it's good. I hope they did a good job with it. Jihad, have I seen the Borderlands movie yet? No, I try to avoid mental damage where I can, so I've not seen it yet. For someone trying to get into the appraisal field, do you have any advice? And appraisal guys can make really good money, but it definitely is about who you know. I think once you get licensed and everything, you got to go to brokers. And it's really kind of slimy, but how a lot of appraisers get work is that they go to brokers and they say, listen, I'm an appraiser. I'm up and coming. My rates and prices are going to be lower than everybody else's. So tell your clients that that's a reason to go with me. And beyond that, I also understand the importance of getting a deal done. So I'm not going to try to undercut or anything. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And basically what they would do is these appraisers would come in and effectively say, I'm going to make sure the deal goes through no matter what. Because if a building is being sold for $1 million, but the appraiser, like the building's actually only worth 700,000, the appraiser should price it at that. And the appraiser's hired by the bank, so the bank goes and is going to get an appraisal on the building to make sure it's actually worth the amount of money they're lending out for it, and that they're not going to be underwater if the deal goes belly up. But a lot of these like multifamily or industrial appraisers, they'll price stuff a good bit higher than it should be because it's all this kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and it's pretty slimy. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, they're millionaires, so they probably know what they're doing. Don't worry about it. You know, it's crazy. But I would say, you know, go to banks, go try to build those relationships and connections. But there's no like shortcuts with it. It's just about grinding it out. Does being on camera all the time take a toll on you? I was skipping with my mom for 10 minutes and I was beat. I mean, probably. I think I'm just used to doing this now. But I mean, to be perfectly clear, this is like a dream job of all dream jobs. So even if it did take a lot out of me, like, who cares? You know, even if I finished every stream with extreme heartburn and then my left leg was limp, and numb, it would still be worth it because this is an absolute dream job, you know? So it's like, you know, I'm good. I'm good. To be clear, that's not what happens. Okay. I saw that one clip. I wish I had it bookmarked, but I saw a clip of a streamer. I didn't recognize her, but she was a streamer, and the story on X was streamer blah 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 is being has come under fire by their community after saying that they wait until they experience sharp chest pain to stop streaming. And it was like, you play the clip and she's straight up saying, yeah, I just wait until I feel like sharp pains to stop streaming, and I figure that's the time where I should shut the stream off and go get some sleep or do something else for the day. And their whole community was like, you should stop before sharp chest pain. Like this is the line. That's past the line. Like, Jesus Christ. She just casually says it. Like, yeah, I just wait for the sharp chest pain. Then I stop. Oh. Yeah, just casually dies on stream. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. And the way we do streaming is a little bit different because people will ask, like, Luke, why don't you do like 10-hour streams? Why don't you play a lot more games on stream? And honestly, it's because like we don't do the traditional kind of streaming here, which is where it's all about hours streamed. Like on Twitch, the grind is about hours streamed. So you need to be on stream as much as physically possible so people see you're live, go over, re-up their sub or their Prime sub or whatever, and then they click off and go do something else. Maybe they watch you for 20 minutes and then they click off. That's a fine way to make a living. Lots of people make hundreds of thousands a month doing it. Big, huge streamers, you know, that just print money and make ridiculous amounts of money doing it. That's how they do it. I've got 2 kids. Like I can't do that, even if I wanted to. I just can't. So what we've done instead is we've built the business of the streams around the clips that we cut from it. So these streams don't actually like make much money at all. I mean, some days we might get like 30-40 bucks in super chats, which is awesome. Other days it might pop off. We might do 100 bucks in super chats. Other days we'll make 5. It just is all over the place. But the stream clips that we post as YouTube videos on this channel, those are what actually generate revenue through ad revenue and all of that stuff. And that's how this channel stays afloat. So we have a different approach to doing it than a traditional quote unquote streamer would. And maybe eventually we'll get to the point, you know, when the boys go to school, maybe then we start doing the standard approach to streaming. But for now, I think this is a solid way to do it. So we are the live studio audience in a meta kind of way. Yeah, kind of, Beard Machine. That's not a bad way of putting it. It's basically what it is. It's, in my experience, a much healthier way of doing this because I love streaming, but I can't do 10-hour streams 5-6 days a week. People have asked why we don't do like a subathon or something where we just stream for 4 or 5 days at a time. And maybe one day we'll do that as like a big celebratory thing, but it's because I've got kids. Like it's just not that, it's not that practical. Do people have YouTube Premium impact your channel more than the regular people? I don't know if it's more than regular people. Like obviously if you have YouTube Premium, that's preferred over ad blocker, sure. I'm just glad that people are watching, frankly. Like honestly, at the end of the day, it all levels out. I'll make a living doing this if people are liking the content, and the day people don't like the content, then I'll do something else. But yeah, I don't want people stressing about that kind of thing. Just like watch the videos if you want to, enjoy the videos if you like them, hopefully. I'm just glad you guys are here. So that's the nice thing about doing like relying on the ad revenue stuff is it's like, yeah, the video's posted for free. Watch it if you want to watch it. Then that's how we make our living. That's how I pay my team. You know, everybody wins. Yeah, you're right. Dragon Age the Veilguard's release trailer drops tomorrow. I have it pulled up. Yeah, look at that. Tomorrow, 23 hours, so 10 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ba-boom. What the hell is this chat? Asexual. What a blessed way to live. Jesus. Oh, man. People are already looking at the dislikes. Oh, for some reason, it won't scroll for me. I don't know. The page is locked. I don't know. So I didn't realize this, but I saw it in the Mutahar video talking about some of the mass downvotes and stuff for recent stuff. Apparently the Chrome extensions for the dislike stuff don't actually read any metadata. What they're doing is they extrapolate out data from the people that have the extension installed and then make a prediction of what the dislike ratio is based on that. So if they're like, you have the Chrome extension installed for dislikes, and of the people that have that installed, there's like, I don't know, 5% of the people installed who have this thing installed who have watched this video have downvoted it. So we're going to extrapolate that out to mean that it must be this total 1,000 dislikes or hundreds of dislikes, whatever. But it's not real. And apparently the data is like just wrong most of the time. Because shocker, if you have an extension installed so you can see downvotes on stuff, you are far more likely to dislike stuff and to dislike videos actively. And so like there was that Mr. Beast video recently where the app, if you had the extension installed, it says there's like 2 million dislikes. But apparently Mr. Beast's own metrics show it like 95%. So it's like, oh, it's just wrong. Asmongold tested that, and sometimes there are more dislikes, and sometimes they are 30 to 40% wrong. Yeah, that's a lot. And then you see people then go, like you see in this chat for this trailer, people are trying to point to it and be like, oh, this is gonna flop, look at all the dislikes. And it's like, because you have an extension installed and you're just, yeah, right here, like your personality is tied up in mass disliking stuff. You know, it's just, it's wild. I've seen the Chrome, whatever the Chrome store, app store, extension store, whatever it's called, has started trying to unlist some ad blocker apps and stuff, which honestly, I'm just surprised they haven't done that sooner. It seems like they would have done that a long time ago, but apparently they're starting to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's, you know, if pretty soon they just start blocking all of the dislike extensions. Because you better believe, like, Disney just posted that Snow White trailer, and that one also allegedly is being mass downvoted, which I find very, very believable because it looked horrifying. Like, if you haven't seen that trailer, I can't play it here, otherwise we'll get, like, struck. But good God almighty, that trailer's horrifying. But, like, I'm sure Disney's calling Google being like, can you pretty please get rid of this? Can you get rid of dislikes, please? And not let anybody even press the button. That's the thing. Even if they get rid of the dislike button completely, and you can only like something, kind of like on Twitter, where like or X, whatever, where you can only like something. If they got rid of that, I think people would still just install extensions where it adds in a dislike button, and then they can just like press a fake button to I guess, feel like they're making a difference. I don't know. I've never gotten the mass dislike thing. I understand you should like make your voice heard. I agree. But I also feel like just not buying the damn thing is a much more effective way of protestation, you know? Because people like mass downvote The Acolyte and then go watch The Acolyte to talk about how much they dislike it. It's like Disney doesn't care why you were watching it. They just care that you watched it. Yeah, super secret. It's never been meant as an accurate measure for the dislike count, only as a tool for people to gauge how reliable a video is. If it's used for culture war reasons, it might represent it accurately. Yeah, I mean, the main reason that people liked it was for like tutorial rating. So like you need help with something, you Google it, and you see a tutorial and it's got 95% likes. Oh, this is probably a really good tutorial. I'll spend the time watching it. But yeah, with like some of this stuff where people mass downvote it, people were trying to mass downvote Hogwarts Legacy stuff, and that game ended up being the biggest game of the year. People mass downvote constant stuff with Call of Duty, and that series is the biggest game of the year most years, like making billions and millions of dollars. So mass downvoting does not by itself work. The community has to be convinced that it's not worth engaging with, and the customers have to be convinced. Yeah, apparently Acolyte, they did okay for the first 3 episodes and then it tanked. I didn't watch it because I was never interested in it, but apparently some people did hate watch it. Which, I mean, I don't know why you do that to yourself. They probably removed the dislike button because they hold the record for worst dislike YouTube video. Cough YouTube 2019 rewind. Yeah, dude, that one was crazy. People forget about that, but the rewinds is rewind time. Like, it was so bad. It was so freaking bad, dude. It was just like, who is this made for? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, and I think that they tried to track metrics to be like, hey, removing dislikes, does it actually lead to, because again, all YouTube cares about is more watch time and people staying on the app longer. So that's all they care about. If they can change any feature and get people to stay on YouTube longer instead of going over to TikTok and watching videos for longer, that's all they care about. That's all they want. So I'm like, all of their testing is A/B testing of this feature versus this feature. If we have a video with likes and dislikes, and we have a video with dislikes turned off, do people tend to watch more on one or the other? Does it not make a difference? And they claim people actually spent more time on the platform and spent more time watching videos when dislikes were removed. Because again, like something like 80% of YouTube traffic is on mobile, where there is no extension to see dislike ratios or anything. So like 80% of the traffic is not looking at that. And it kind of makes sense. If you come to a video and you see that it has 80% dislikes, you're probably not watching the whole video. But for YouTube, they don't want that. They want you to watch the whole video. Even if you watch the whole video and you're not satisfied with it, at least you watched the whole video and they played a couple more ads for you, you know? Because again, that's the only metric that really matters for them. So probably due to scam videos that you can't see the dislikes anymore. It helped filter out garbage. Yeah, well, I think what they also figured was they can start doing chat crawling, or rather comment crawling, where they can basically have a bot read the comments and the top voted comments and then determine the quality of a video from that. So if a video is described as a tutorial and the top comments on the video are all terrible tutorial, this didn't help, you know, waste of time, all of that stuff, then they can, the little crawler can determine that that video is not very good and recommend it less. So I think there's that. Let me refresh this. Primed Snake. Primed Snake, I think. Thank you for the tip. Hi, Luke. Can you go over the Stalker 2 deep dive posted earlier? I know what you mean now by the terms of bad gunplay around the 19-minute mark, especially. However, I do think the atmosphere around the world looks good and immersive. Much love from Scotland. Yeah, we can go over that. I think, you know, maybe this is like surprising to people, but I don't have anything against Stalker 2. People thought I was like trying to attack it or something when we looked at it at Summer Game Fest, when all I was doing is reporting what me and pretty much everybody else who tried the demo thought, which was that it was just a bad demo. Like it was a bad demo. But people inferred that or interpreted that as like active hate towards Stalker 2, and it's like, no, I hope that they delay it and give it time to polish, because what we played was super broken. Like it wasn't a good demo. You can have a really, really good game that has a bad demo. You can have a really bad game that has a really good demo. But all I'm saying is that the demo we played had horrifying screen tearing. It had bugs. Audio prompts weren't working properly. It like just wasn't good. And so my hope was that they would fix it up and get it running better. Yeah, sorry, my Ring doorbell's going off. Yeah, I mean, people got mad triggered, but it was really funny because it was like, I've played the game, I played the demo, and I'm telling you what I saw in the demo. Like, and then people were very, very triggered about it. It's like, okay, well, when you play that demo, then you can say something. So what you're saying is it was like Stalker. Yeah. Oh yeah, Luke Stevens hates Stalker and wants Russia to win because of how much the game sucks. Gone sexual. It's kind of what it seemed like. Yeah, I'm rooting for them, but that demo was bad. And I understand that upsets people. It upset me too, because I spent half an hour playing it. Felt like my time was very wasted. But I have that pulled up, my friend. I have it pulled up. We will get to it. We also have the podcast today. That's going to be good. Let me work through some of these real quick. So am I reviewing Black Myth Wukong? As of right now, no. As of right now, I am playing it at launch with everybody else. Caleb, thank you for the 5. Reminder to at least like the stream if you're enjoying it. It takes half a second and there are 700 people here, but only 30 likes. Shake my head. Oh yeah, if people could like the stream, that'd be great. Thank you. Kevin, also, thank you for the super chat. I heard a lot of talk about The Witcher 4 and Orion releasing on next-gen consoles, but I feel like the PS5 just came out and it doesn't have the library like the PS4. Am I really thinking of PlayStation 6 already? Yeah, this whole generation has been a bit of a cluster as far as consistent quality releases have been concerned. I think we'll get a couple by the time the final like year hits, but I mean, I guess that's a good segue into this. Let me show you this. New segment. So this is kind of crazy. Okay. Kevin in chat gave us a very generous super chat and asked about the PS5, how it didn't have the inventory or games of the PS4 generation, which is absolutely true. How it looks like a lot of these companies are saying prep for next generation, stuff like that, with The Witcher 4 and other big studios. And it really feels like a lot of the games that we've been expecting have just been on the back burner or have taken way, way longer to make. And there's actually a wee bit, it's not even really breaking news, but it's something that dropped at 6 p.m. last night that I found really interesting. Okay? Really, really interesting. It's a job posting from a big studio that hasn't released anything in 4 years. A big studio who prior to that had about 4-year dev cycles, sometimes even less. And this job posting suggests that they are still a long ways off from whatever their next project is. Look at this. Look at this. Naughty Dog jobs. Hot job. I wish I could get a hot job. Senior producer. Naughty Dog is looking for a senior producer to join our talented team to work on our next game. Important. Next game. Not one of our future games. Not an upcoming game. Their next games. Their next game. I can talk. Want to get in early and help define the process, requirements, and structure to ship our next game and beyond? Apply. They're phrasing it as getting in early. Now, this could be just total speculation. This could be reading way too much into this. But the way that they are describing it is that it is early in the dev cycle. Look at that development kit right there. I think that's the PS4 dev kit. Look at that chonkster. That's funny. Anyway, they describe it as getting in early to help build out the teams, get the organizational stuff figured out so that they can produce stuff more efficiently, production methodologies, as well as tracking software. They also, look at this. Estimated USA pay range in all regions for this role is listed below. 133,000 to 240, my camera's covering it, 241,000. You want to know why games are expensive? This is part of it. Okay. You're right. That is a hot job. I'll tell you what. That is a hot job. So I think they wasted a lot of time on the Last of Us Online project. I think that a lot more people were working on that than was previously kind of talked about it. I think it's pretty clear that they had pretty much all hands on deck working on the online project through 2020, like early 2024. And now it's just, they're basically starting from the very earliest of stages on this next project, which to me, early for Naughty Dog is like year 1, maybe year 2, which means it's still a couple of years away at least, which probably pushes it into the 2026 to 2027 range. And in that case, I think that it's very likely to either be one of the last games for the PS5 or an early PlayStation 6 title. Which, it's wild to think that we've seen this happen now with multiple studios, but we get like a Last of Us TV show that pops off, makes the franchise more popular than ever, and all they have to show for it is a remake / remaster, right? And then we also have the Fallout show come out. It pops off, makes the franchise more popular than ever before, and they don't have anything to show for it at all except for a next-gen update for Fallout 4 that breaks everything, and some new stuff for Fallout 76 if you happen to be interested in that. And that's it. Like, it really seems like there has just been just cascading side effects, probably of COVID, but I think also of a lot of live service pushes at a lot of these big studios, both BGS pushing live service with Fallout 76 and other projects where they think that that is a sufficient replacement for servicing their core fan base. And then also with Naughty Dog being forced to work on this online game for basically 4 or 5 years before they abandon it. You know, and that's the most shameful thing about it, is that I'm sure they developed some cool tools, some cool techniques. They trained a lot of people. They got out a remake and a remaster with you know, Naughty Dog's entry-level staff, but they basically haven't done anything since 2020. That's wild. One of the top studios in the world. And it will probably be close to a decade by the time we actually see what's next for them. It's ridiculous. Again, I blame Jim Ryan. I blame a lot of these executives because it's just led to the PlayStation 5 and Series X and S generation to be way, way less interesting than it could have been. Just really underwhelming. Other positions that they're hiring for are things like game designers, specifically level designers. And if you open this up, this is more of like a standard role. So if we open this up, game designer level contingent. If we pull this up, 3 years experience, one shipped game at any company. And then their pay range is an hourly rate instead of salaried. Which, you know, not bad money per se. You're not making minimum wage. I don't know what determines that you make 92 over 51. Probably experience, probably stuff like that, but proactive attitude. Coordinate playtesting, reviews, and iteration, ensuring levels meet technical specs. Produce and maintain documentation that establishes the core concepts of your levels. Documentation? What is this? Create scenarios, place game objects, and implement level progression using game editor tools. Develop level composition. Ooh. $51. I'm willing to lie on my resume. I mean, you got to bear in mind that this also is a job in Santa Monica. Santa Monica is not cheap to live in. So I think that's a big part of it too. They kind of have to pay you more because it's pricey. But all of this to say, I mean, it says they're talking about getting in early at Naughty Dog for the next project. And that, to me, would just suggest that it's still years and years and years away. Some people were hoping that maybe they'd have something to show next year, and maybe they do. Maybe they show a trailer or something for it. But as for release, if they're still referring to it as early, their next game is early in production, that's at least 3, probably more like 4 or 5 years away. Because bear in mind, Naughty Dog also got rid of all of the crunch. Naughty Dog was doing 4-year dev cycles back when they were crunching real bad, but now they've eliminated that, and dev cycles are longer than they ever have been before, which all would suggest that this is going to be a long dev cycle. So I just hope they let The Last of Us die once and for all and focus on other things. I hope their next project is a new IP. I agree, but I think they are going to go back to The Last of Us before, probably after that, honestly. Okay. So no Last of Us 3. I mean, I think in probably a decade. I just don't think that's their next thing. I think they do something fresh. Okay. Let's talk about a scandal. You guys want to talk about a scandal? Did any of you guys see this story? Any of you guys see this? I saw this story. A lot of people freaked out about it. We're going to talk about it. We've got lots of people very, very triggered. New segment. Okay, so in case you're not familiar, basically what's been going on with The Verge is a wee bit of a scandal because Valve is working on a new game. It's been reported on for weeks because they've been doing playtesting, sending people early access codes to it. And it's been leaked. People have released gameplay footage. People have tried to stream it. I mean, it's what's going to happen when you give like 20,000 people access to an upcoming game early. It's just going to happen. Even with like really strict NDAs, this type of thing happens. So we shouldn't be necessarily surprised that it's getting out there. But what was surprising is that a reporter, a senior editor actually, for a huge outlet, The Verge, decided to just try something that basically tried to find a loophole and run with it. And a lot of people found it to be extremely, I'm not even sure what the definition, like disrespectful or extremely distasteful or even unethical. And I think maybe that's closer to where I would land with it. You see, they posted this. I'm not going to pull up the article that has all of the gameplay footage and screen caps and stuff. But you know, it's out there, I guess, if you want to look at it. But I would just say that like Valve has not released that, probably for good reason, because stuff can still change. So if you really want to see it, I can't stop you, but I'm not going to be pulling it up because I just don't think that it's fair to do. But you can see that they did. We played Valve's secret new shooter, Deadlock. It's like Overwatch, Dota 2, and Team Fortress 2 all baked into a pie. And he says, I think they deleted the comment where they referred to it, but they said that they did not sign an NDA, which is why they are publishing this. Now, technically speaking, an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, is a legal document or a legally binding document that you sign through like a DocuSign type thing. You actually sign the document and it's binding, saying that you're not going to disclose any of this stuff and this, that, and the other. I've done preview build testing. I've done even consultant work on games that still are not out yet, still that haven't even been announced yet, where I've signed NDAs that I just cannot talk about it. One day, maybe I can if they release that, but I've signed many NDAs in my day. And yes, it is something that you actively have to do. What this game apparently had was a prompt that said this. It said early development build. This is the first thing that you see when you boot the game. And it said Deadlock is still early in development with a lot of temporary art and experimental gameplay. Do not share anything about the game with anyone. And then you hit OK. Now, is this a legally binding NDA? I don't think so. Just tapping OK, I can see how maybe they could argue that would therefore be binding because you're consenting. But as you can see, this message does pop up when I launch Deadlock, but I didn't click OK. Instead, I hit the escape key and watched it disappear. Okay. So they found like a loophole, which is kind of funny. But still, pretty clearly, they're asking you not to share this. And so for you to share it, it's just kind of like a dick move. You know? It's just kind of a dick move. And I think that that's generally what people are saying here. You can see they're even like, turns out Valve was not fine with me trying Deadlock with my friends. I've been banned from matchmaking. Oh, well, please feel free to make fun of me in the comments. Yeah, Valve shut this down. They were not thrilled. And so their argument's just going to be, hey, I didn't even have to consent by pressing the OK button. You just hit escape and back out of it and then continue playing the game just fine. Which I think for a judge, if they ever took this to court, a judge would have to be like, you still gave him access without signing the NDA. It's the same thing like if I went to a preview event or something for a game that's coming up. Like this has not happened, nor will it happen. But like imagine if GTA 6... they were doing previews and they say, fly out to this place. We're going to do super secure lockdown previews in this building with security and all this. So you can't record it without us seeing you do it. We're going to lock it down. And that way you can do early impressions, but we don't have to worry about leaks. So you fly out to that place, you go through security and all that. Then they have a big sheet of paper that you have to sign. That's the NDA, saying you will not disclose anything you play during this session until whatever the date is. But you just don't sign it, and you just walk around it and go into the play session. If you then got out of that play session and talked about it, made videos, and you're like, yeah, I didn't sign it. I encourage whatever company to present the document because I didn't sign any document. They didn't make me. I do think you would get away with it legally. I don't think they could sue you or do anything like that because they did allow you to play it and didn't stop you from playing it, without signing that. They should have made you sign it, but they didn't. So I think you're off the hook there on a technicality, but it's still a dick move. Like, you shouldn't be surprised if they're very upset with you. And if you also get like no other big studios or companies trusting you ever again with early access to their stuff. And I think that's probably what's going to happen with The Verge, is that now they're just not going to get access to like anything. Because the one thing I know is that big companies do not appreciate people that try to get around this type of thing on technicalities or loopholes. There was some debate with like that Harry Potter Quidditch World Champions, whatever, where there was like a pop-up screen similar to this, where it like popped up saying, by clicking OK, you agree not to share, blah, blah, blah. Is that a legally binding NDA? I honestly don't know, because like, again, normally NDAs are pretty strict legal documents. Like, they're pretty intense. So I don't know if that's actually binding, but at the very least, it's something you had to click OK, consent, and then play the game. But with this, it just seems like somebody built in the ability to hit escape, and that's the loophole they're relying on to talk about the game so openly. I get they wanted the scoop. They wanted to make this, put this article out and talk about it, but like, come on, come on. And so I think with this story, my final interpretation of it is that they probably are allowed to do this. I don't think they necessarily are going to get in any sort of legal punishment or a lawsuit or anything, but it's still a dick move. It's still a dick move. Yeah, whether the game ends up being good or not doesn't really matter. It's just a dick move, And plus, these are the same types of journalists that tend to freak out when like YouTubers maybe let something slip accidentally about a game that was under NDA or something, and it's just, they freak out about that, and they're like, oh well, we're part of the established media. We deserve much more respect because we have ethics and things, and then they do stuff like this, and it's like, guys, come on. What are we doing? Like, this is just bad. Valve can cry. Sure. I mean, Valve, the game's going to be successful or fail regardless of this. This won't really have an impact. But that's not the question. The question is whether or not this should be allowed, and or whether we should like encourage this type of behavior. And I think if a YouTuber, think of a YouTuber or a streamer, something you don't like. If they did this, would you be okay with it? Probably not. Even if it were for a game, like, flip the game. Say it's for a game you really like, or you're really excited for. Maybe you're really excited for GTA 6, or you're really excited for Black Myth Wukong or something. And then one of the journalists or YouTubers you don't like goes and posts an article spoiling all of the biggest boss fights. And they're like, yeah, so they did ask me to sign an NDA, but I just hit escape, and so I got out of it, and I didn't have to. So that's why I'm able to share this with you. You'd still be like, okay, go screw yourself. Like, get out of here. Yeah, if Queso did this, it would be very funny, and I would be down. So what you're saying is, if Queso did it, you'd like eat it up? Like Queso? It was a stretch. I'll give you that. I was like, Queso Eating. There's gotta be something. That's all I got. That's all I got. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. I'm a dad now. I get to make dad jokes. Yeah, it's just scummy me, like, yeah. Whether you're gonna end up playing the game Deadlock or not, whether you like Valve, whether you like The Verge, doesn't really matter. I think we should all agree that this type of thing, leaking and releasing a ton of information that was intended to be kept private because you can get away on a technicality, is just kind of a lame thing to do. Especially in the age of all these games getting everything leaked constantly, and a lot of the most exciting features and things of games getting leaked ahead of time. It's just kind of frustrating to see it happen again. So interesting story. Little funny, honestly, that it comes down to just hitting escape on a prompt. But yeah, that's sometimes all it takes. Stream with Jor is in an hour 45. Hour 45 from now. Okay, Jacob, I think these two stories we could probably split into two separate segments and then stagger them by like 3-4 days. Are you in here? I'm not sure if I remember seeing you. But just for future reference, I think that's what we'll do. Is one of these stories we'll do as one, because one is on pushing the limits of the PS5 and Series X, and then the other one is on the dev cycle. And I think they can be their own thing. Okay. New segment. That was horrible. Okay, I'm sorry. Apologies, everybody who had to hear that. Let's start with this. So this is an article from Games Radar, and it seems to directly address something that I pointed out and I was frustrated with, which is I appreciate that. So basically this is about Assassin's Creed Shadows, not
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
That's a different game. But we looked at some of the footage that they released of Nawe doing parkour, and I felt that clearly they've done some improvements to like lighting systems, to the weather systems, and like the trees and foliage and stuff. But as for other things like the movement, animations, stuff like that, it feels like Valhalla 1.5, or maybe even, dare I say, Valhalla 2.0. It could even be that much. But it just doesn't feel like the leap forward I was hoping to see after 4 years, because going from like Syndicate to Origins was a huge leap, where whether you liked it or not, there was a lot different between Syndicate and Origins. Totally different game. And that's a lot of people's frustration, is that it felt like a totally new franchise. But with this 4-year gap, it seems like there haven't been a ton of like major upgrades or shifts or things. It seems like they've done some stuff here and there, but it just doesn't seem like a huge leap forward. However, an article from Games Radar says Assassin's Creed Shadows is pushing the limits of what Ubisoft can do with PS5 and Xbox Series X. It's going big on aspects like weather and lightning. And when you purchase through links on our site, they get a commission. Okay. AC Shadows is pushing the limits of what Ubisoft can do with current-gen consoles. In a new interview with GamesIndustry.biz, AC Shadows lead producer Carl Onier spoke about development of the new RPG. Quote, "It's great to work on a game that comes after something with the pedigree of Valhalla," explains Onier, referencing 2020's sprawling action RPG epic Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the biggest game in Ubisoft series to date. But obviously there are great expectations. We always want to go better, which is what we're trying to do with Shadows. We are pushing the limits of what we can do. It is something we've always wanted to do, but we wanted to find the right time, and I'm sure the other teams would have liked to do it too, the lead producer continued. This game is being made by Ubisoft Quebec, the same team behind 2018's Odyssey, the last mainline title preceding Valhalla. Onier believes Odyssey gave Ubisoft Quebec the experience necessary to make AC Shadows. Now, this is one thing to point out. Odyssey, if somehow you haven't played it or heard people ramble about it, Odyssey is freakishly big, okay? The game is outrageously huge. It's one of like the main critiques about it is that it's too big, which is a critique I also get all of the time. It's just something I've always struggled with. But I just want to show you like the interactive map. If you've never played the game, it's outrageous. Okay? Like this is a snippet, a sliver of the map. There's other brackets, like there's a map over here, there's more maps over here. They can't even fit it all within this mapgenie.io. Like it's ridiculous. There are so many things hidden in these islands. You can sail all of this. There's a Hydra. There's Melanthos. Over here's where the freaking Minotaur is. There's just so much stuff in the game. It's ridiculous. Honestly, looking at this map kind of makes me want to play it again. There's just a ton, okay? There's just a ton. Up here is where like the Medusa is. Yeah, Medusa, Writhing Dead. So much, okay? The game is huge. And hearing that they are going to be making Shadows is intriguing because the one thing that they always have managed to do is go with scale. And we haven't really seen any of that. We haven't heard any discussions of it. We haven't seen anything indicating scale in those boxes that they sent out. Mine's back there. The boxes they sent out to creators kind of to excite them over the announcement of Shadows. They had a map inside the box, and in the map it gave you an idea of some of the points of interest and stuff that you could find in the game. But other than that, there really has not been much discussion of scope or scale. Granted, they have barely started to market this game, but still, I think that that is one thing that is untouched that could be a big selling point for a lot of people, is that Valhalla was big. Odyssey was also very, very big. And if they're going for the same scale of game, I think that needs to be disclosed. I'd rather they go a little bit smaller and focus on quality first and foremost. That's my humble opinion. That's my preference. But because I felt like with Valhalla...
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Apologies. I felt like with that game, most of the time you're just riding on your horse through big open grassy fields or through forests, and then you get to a point of interest. You hop off your horse, and then you continue doing what you're doing. But it didn't really feel like there was that much packed in there. Whereas with Odyssey, I think they broke it up enough where there were a lot of hills and mountains, but then you had to hop on your or hop off your horse onto your ship, sail to another island, and then do that. You know, I think that that helped it a lot. But with Shadows, we just don't know what that traversal between cities, for example, will be like. But anyway, they continue. But it also felt like the right moment because we have the power in terms of the hardware, but also our new version of the engine, so we could really deliver our vision. It was important for us to have things like light and shadows, which is very performance hungry, and things like dynamic weathers. Onya concludes referencing Ubisoft's upgraded Anvil game engine, which Shadows runs on. Shadows is the first game, blah, 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 and nothing else. Now, this follows in line with something else that we've heard them discuss, which is something that they haven't really delved into in any full-on like marketing materials, and that has to do with the weather systems. They've talked about it. The media has had this described, but Ubisoft's not shown any trailers showcasing it. At Summer Game Fest and at the Ubisoft Forward, they showed some gameplay that explained it sort of, but the idea is basically that in the winter, things like icicles will of course start to droop down on these rooftop edges. And if you're walking on that roof, the weight of Nawe, or certainly Yasuke if he can get up there, will actually cause these to fall, crashing on the ground, making sound, alerting people and guards to your presence. It also means that in the summer or spring, ponds will be melted. And so something like this pond or little river, whatever you call it, will be melted. So you'd be able to swim in it to get underneath this guard. But in the winter, if you take on this castle in the winter, that's going to be frozen solid, a big block of ice. So you can't actually do that anymore. You have to change your tactics according to the weather. That's a cool idea. That's interesting. But we haven't seen anything about that. Then if you're playing as Yasuke, you can hit stuff with a big mace. So there's that. I do think that there's going to be a lot more variability here and a lot more complexity than has been established so far. I do think there's a lot more that they just haven't shown us. But all we can go on right now is what we know about. And what we know is not a whole lot. But they seem very insistent on trying to remind people that this will go bigger, it will go badder than what we've seen before. Even this shot here, the bit of fog and stuff that they do in the distance, the gradated lighting, that looks great. Shots like this, I mean, you can actually see off in the distance another castle, a whole like city and castle built up over there. And then there's other buildings up on top of the hills over here that get clouded out with the snowstorm. It seems like there's a lot here. We just haven't seen it. What I think could be helpful is if in one of the next trailers, they just do a big map overview where they do kind of like that. You fly the eagle over top and you just show people how freakishly big this actually is. Because I think that could excite some of the core fans just to see how much content there is. Because all people are going off right now are the couple of shots of Nawe running through a castle and then Yasuke running through a castle. And it didn't seem that novel. It didn't seem that crazy or particularly interesting. It was like, okay, yep, we can fight guards and then do an assassination mission. Seen that before, but I want to see what they do in this game that really is different from all the others, which is allegedly the weather systems and things like using the shadows, which they keep pushing. So the idea being, again, in the nighttime, when the sun has set, there will be actual shadows cast realistically within the map. And if you take out certain lanterns to create more shadows, then those can be new areas for you to stealth through and not be spotted. That's all very interesting, and it's something we've seen little snippets of here and there or heard discussed, but we haven't really seen it explored in a lot of details. So I think that would be good to see. But it certainly appears to me that they are trying to get ahead of this and trying to push that they are, or push the narrative that they're pushing the boundary, technically speaking, because I think they're already seeing people express maybe frustration that the game is not like a huge graphical leap forward when they were maybe hoping for it. Because again, this is a 4-year dev cycle. This is like the longest dev cycle, I think, in the history of Assassin's Creed. Pretty sure. And so you'd hope to see some major leaps forward. Now, to be fair, this was started like right as COVID hit. So you can basically subtract a year effectively from the dev cycle just in terms of efficiency. But still, I would just hope to see like that they've been really cooking for 3-4 years. And so far, I just haven't seen that. But I really hope that changes once we start to see some actual previews of the game. Maybe they start to do some like extended preview play testing or something. That would be awesome if they gave some media, maybe not, maybe not the Verge guys. If they wanted to stay secret, maybe not the Verge guys, but maybe like they start to give people access to some longer play sessions, similar to what they did with Star Wars Outlaws, where they gave people that game for 4 hours to try, because it's kind of hard to hide what the game is after 4 hours. I think after 4 hours, people get a pretty good idea of what they're doing here, even though this game probably is like, you know, a 70-80 hour campaign. I still think that would be very, very revealing if they gave people that much time with it. So we'll see. Yeah, and it is an RPG. It is an RPG. Fox, they are describing it that way. Whether that just means like graphic or not graphically, like in terms of the narrative, there's branching choices. Maybe that's all they mean by it. Do they mean more action RPG where there's like big branching ways to build out your character. I'm not really sure because, again, we just haven't seen much about it, but I'm sure that we're going to find out lots about it once Star Wars Outlaws drops in like 2 weeks. We're going to see a lot of that because they've been marketing Star Wars Outlaws a lot, and that's a big game for them. I would argue Assassin's Creed Shadows is an even bigger game for them. So I think they're going to be marketing that way more. Buckle up, buckaroo. To be fair, most games who have a simple skill tree call themselves RPGs. Yeah. I mean, the term basically doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's been a problem for like 5 years. So, yeah. Not true for Elden Ring players who spend 4 hours on trees. No. Yeah, while everybody is telling them, come back later once you like get a few levels. No, I ain't no pussy. I'm going to do it now, bitch. Yeah, I've heard people were like that. I wasn't like that, of course. I did it smart. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's talk about something kind of sad. Actually, let's talk about something really cringy. I don't think this is even a segment. This came across my feed and I was like, what the hell? And I just want to play it for you guys because it's one of the most uncomfortable video clips I've ever seen in my life. So buckle up, put your oven mitts on because the face palming is about to come in full force. It's from the god of game reviews himself, Gregory. I think, well, I'll explain my theory for what the hell he's talking about in a few minutes, but I'll just let this play.
I do need is people to get their shit figured out and get Dragon Age Inquisition working on a Steam Deck. Tell all your PC friends about this, Greg.
Hey, PC friends who haven't been caught and put in jail yet for being pedophiles, I would really love it if you would help Andy by modding this. I know you love your mods. I know you. The developers, they had a vision and they made a game, but you say, fuck that. I'd like to put this cube in it that breaks everything. If you could help Dragon Age Inquisition get running before Chris Hansen and the FBI break down your door, that'd be great.
What? Like I'm trying to find the joke in it. I think what he's referring to is maybe Dr. Disrespect. I think because this seems to be a clip from like June. So I think that's what he's referring to. Because like Doc played a lot on PC, I guess. And so therefore all PC gamers are PDF files. I just don't get it.
What you do need is people to get their shit figured out and get Dragon Age Inquisition working on a Steam Deck.
They're talking about getting Dragon Age Inquisition on a Steam Deck. Like that's all they want is talking about getting a game working on a Steam Deck. And then he just starts talking about
Tell all your
PDFs.
PC friends about this, Greg.
Hey, PC friends who haven't been caught and put in jail yet for being pedophiles, I would really love it if you would help Andy by modding this. I know you love your mods. I know you. The developers, they had a vision and they made a game, but you say, fuck that. I'd like to put this cube in it that breaks everything.
It's like modders are bad for breaking the vision of developers.
If you could help Dragon Age Inquisition get running before Chris Hansen and the FBI break down your door, that'd be great.
I do need.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You're saying he just gives. I don't know. You're saying he just gives PC gamers crap. It's what he does. Okay, I just don't get the joke. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that it's referencing Dr. Disrespect, but it's weird to just casually refer to like all PC gamers / modders as either like potential or soon to be pedos. Like that, it's just weird. It's just weird. like there's one thing to like crap on PC players because like a lot of PC gamers are kind of divas, or maybe we're like spoiled brats. I get that. Casually calling people pedos. I feel like maybe we need to make pedo jokes less common. Maybe I feel like people have gotten way too comfortable just casually, both jokingly and seriously referring to each other that way. And it's, you know, life is not Reddit or Tumblr. Okay. It was just, I came across that and I was like, what the hell is he even talking about? Like, I don't get the joke. I don't even know if that is a joke or like what. Just one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Maybe projecting a bit. I will not say he's projecting. No, I think he's actually a father himself. So I think it's just a weird attempt at a joke that, in my opinion, didn't land, or in my case, didn't land. And I think we should maybe make jokes calling each other pedos more rare. It's like Mr. Hanky. You know, it was a bad attempt at a Christmas joke. Okay, but you called all PC gamers pedophiles. So what kind of joke was that? Like I said, it was a bad attempt. Like, okay, but what's the joke? You're just calling PC gamers and modders pedos. Yeah, it was a bad attempt. Howdy hey. That's basically, I guess he's Mr. Hanky. He's basically Mr. Hanky. It was a bad attempt at a Christmas joke. Okay, let's talk about this one real quick. News segment. So yesterday I posted a video breaking down my impressions of the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which is the big like remaster reworking of Dead Rising, a game I played a lot back in like high school-ish age. And I all told I really liked it. They did a lot of bizarre rewrites and stuff, like Cliff, who's one of the psychopaths, they just rewrote some of his dialogue. He's supposed to be a Vietnam vet who, like, when he sees Frank, thinks he's like a Viet Cong and thinks he's going to attack him, and so he kills or tries to kill Frank in turn and calls him a filthy communist and all this. But in the remaster, they just cut that dialogue. Instead, he calls you like a filthy mongrel or something. I forget what he calls him, but they cut that dialogue. It's really strange. They also cut like exotica points, so you can't see that anymore when you take those pictures of like scantily clad women, which maybe is like, did the game need that? No, but it's also like, this is a 2006 remaster. It's not a remake. Why are we cutting all this stuff out? It just seems odd. Other than that, the game runs really well. The game is fun. It's Dead Rising still, and it's just a really good time. And the new control scheme is so much better than the old one. Frankly, I don't know how we ever played the game to begin with the original control schemes. But having said that, I posted that video describing my thoughts. This is a gameplay reel from GameSpot on it. But I made that video describing my thoughts, and then somebody came into chat and pointed out that a content creator with a lot of experience in the Dead Rising franchise had basically been ghosted. And I thought that was really strange. I was like, oh. And then I recognized the name, and I pulled up the channel, and it was a channel by the name of Stipo or Stipo. I'm not sure how I wanted it pronounced, but STIP0. And this was a guy that did a ton of coverage of the Dead Rising franchise for years and years and years. I mean, basically for the last decade, he's been pumping out regular content about Dead Rising, about the upcoming games, all of that stuff. And he just didn't get access to this. Now, I thought that was a little strange, but I thought, you know what? Maybe it's just an honest mistake. Maybe they just didn't have his name on the list when they sent out the invites. Let me try to help. So I reached out to him. I sent him a DM on Twitter, and I told people if they knew how to get a hold of him to reach out to me. And I'd maybe try to get him in connection with the people that could get him access. But before I ever heard back, reports started coming in that his entire channel, he had just struck all of his stuff. He took it all off, privated every video. And just about, 10 hours before this, you can see he wrote on his now private Twitter account. So he privated his Twitter. Thankfully I sent a DM before that, but never heard back from him. He privated his Twitter account and said, quote, 11 years of content on the game gets you blacklisted from reviewing it, which obviously he was quite upset about. He's like the most devoted, I would argue, probably the most devoted Dead Rising content creator, and just was totally ignored for this. Initially, he only removed his videos on the remaster, but now literally everything is gone. All of it, even the community tab. It hurts to see this guy poured his heart and soul into the game and the community surrounding it for over a decade, and then Capcom just says no thanks and then ignores him. Now, allegedly, some people have said that this maybe is because he has a history of data mining. Basically, he would get builds or beta builds of Dead Rising games, and then he would data mine them and try to find interesting little tidbits about the game in those files. And therefore, they blacklisted him, or they didn't want to work with him, or whatever. I would argue, doesn't really matter. I've talked about Capcom crap. We talked about data mined information. We've talked about all sorts of stuff in the games industry, and they still reached out and gave me access to the game. What's so special about me? Well, I think like it's pretty clear. It's just that I have a bigger channel on the main channel, and they thought they could kind of get away with dumping Stipo and not giving him access, which just kind of sucks. It's just a bad look. Like some people, yeah, you see, I see Outsider Jess says him deleting everything is fishy though. Maybe I saw his videos before. I think he honestly was just so PO'd that after a decade of this, they won't even give him access to a remaster. Not even like the next game, but a remaster of a game from 2006. They won't even contact him about that. He's just like, screw this. Why am I helping you guys? And then he literally took his ball and went home. I don't think he should delete all his stuff. I think he should put it back up, because I think if anything, a lot of people are going to be more likely to find his content now more than ever with this remaster releasing and getting pretty good marks. But I understand his frustration. What I would just tell him is, if somehow you see this, my friend, and you know, you can undo this, I would recommend you do. You publish and put your stuff back up and reach out to me on X where I DM'd you. I can't promise anything, but I will try to maybe get you in contact with the right people. I don't know if there's more stuff going on, but it seems to me, and based on what I've read, it seems that he basically was just so frustrated by this that he just decided, screw this. But I would encourage you, don't give up. Don't walk away. Just chillax. We can try to figure it out. Okay. Why did he put his Twitter on protected? Because most of his tweets were about promoting Dead Rising stuff. And I think he's just in the position now where he's like, why am I going to try and help you guys and promote your stuff and talk about your games if you're just going to screw me over like this? I get the sentiment. A lot of the time it's not personal. It's just that somebody within the marketing department didn't see your channel, because they literally searched by gaming channels, sorted by most subs to smallest subs, and then they picked the top 200 or 300 or 400. Like, honestly, that's how a lot of these things work, unfortunately. It's still an oversight, I would argue, but that's how it often works. So I would just encourage you not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This sucks, certainly, but I think deleting everything will only lock it down and make it so absolutely you never can have any sort of relationship with Capcom or with the community ever again. But if you can handle this maybe in a more tactical way, we might be able to do something to figure it out. So again, I can't promise anything, but I'd be happy to try and point you in the right direction, to talk to somebody who might be able to get you access. So interesting little tidbit. Yeah, it's just business, nothing personal. A lot of the time, like maybe back 10 years ago, a lot of stuff would have been more personal. But I think a lot of the time with companies nowadays, they're not trying to do anything. They just honestly are swarmed with every single TikToker is swarming them for review codes. Every streamer is trying to get access to it. And so they're dealing with thousands and thousands of emails. They don't know me. They don't know you. Like they don't really care. A lot of the people that run the marketing stuff on this aren't even like actively watching video game YouTubers. They're just marketing grads, you know, like they're really not trying to screw you over or hurt you. They just honestly don't know. So yeah, sorry, Luke. I think Todd will treat you the same. I mean, honestly, if Todd wanted to just never interact with me, or if he told them never send Luke access to any of our stuff ever again, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, I think that's a bad move, but I don't think anybody would be that surprised because I'm not entitled to any review codes. I'm not entitled to anything. I don't deserve any of that stuff. If they want to send me a review code, great. If not, okay. Just like Black Myth Wukong. I didn't get a review code for Black Myth Wukong. Granted, I kind of forgot to get the email address and to send out emails when I should have. Kind of my bad. But do I think that's part of like some big personal attack on me because I dared to talk about how stupid the IGN article was or something? Or like, no, I don't think there's anything personal. I think they just didn't have my name on the list of creators they sent emails to. Nothing malicious about that, you know? So now I'll get to play the game with everybody else. It's going to be great. So what you're saying is they hate your guts. Did I check my spam folder? No, actually, hold on. I swear to Christ, if it ends up that there is an invite there, that would be so freaking funny. Okay. No. No, not that I see. Black Myth. It is funny. There's a bunch of other people. Like there's companies that are trying to get me to like review a sports drink. And they're like, oh, check this sports drink out. It's the best sports drink to drink while playing Black Myth Wukong. So if you search your inbox for Black Myth Wukong, there's stuff like that. But yeah, it's no invites for that. Yeah. Delisting doesn't happen all that often though. What do you mean delisting? Am I missing something? Oh, I think you're talking about something else. Black Myth Wukong developers hate Luke Stevens. His social credit is how bad, prank gone, bad gone, sexual. Yeah, dude, for real. It's just... Okay, close that. Okay, let's talk about this. New segment. Ready? Developers have reportedly been told not to expect the Switch 2 to launch before April of 2025. This was originally supposed to release like the end of this year before the holidays. But apparently, according to GamesIndustry.biz head writer Chris Dring, who discussed launch plans for the Switch's successor on the publication's latest podcast, Nintendo confirmed in May it will announce its next console during its current fiscal year, which runs until March 31st of next year, but said, quote, no developer I've spoken to expects it to be launching this financial year. Dring said, in fact, they've been told not to expect it in the current fiscal or financial year. A bunch of people I spoke to hope it's out in April or May time. Still early next year, not late. I don't think any of us want a late launch for Switch 2 because we all want a new Nintendo console. Everyone gets very excited for it, and we don't want that crunch of Grand Theft Auto 6 and Switch and all that kind of stuff on top of each other. They point out that having launched in March of 2017, Switch is in its 8th year in the market. In July, it surpassed the Famicom as the Nintendo console with the longest lifespan before being replaced. And they've also seen revenue significantly dry up with the Switch because everybody knows a new console's coming. So people just are not investing very much in it. Nobody's buying new controllers. Nobody's buying replacement Joy-Cons. Nobody's buying new games. Nobody's doing any of that because they know a new console's on the way. So they're just kind of at a point where they need to announce it, get it out there, and start raking in the money that way. I would guess, I mean, let's do this. Releases gaming 2025. What's the schedule? 2025 release date calendar. What would be a good time for it to slot into? I mean, we have a lot of just 2025 games. We don't really have a lot of very specific dates. But yeah, TBA. Are seriously all of these, they don't have any dates for any of this? That's insane. I mean, I feel like everybody now is just walking on eggshells waiting to say when they're releasing because they don't want to be close to GTA 6. It seems like that's most of it. Like Monster Hunter Wilds, Marvel, which probably is like 4 hours long. They could put it whenever, but things like probably Fable doesn't want to be close to GTA. Doom doesn't want to be close. Death Stranding doesn't want to be close. I think Civ can release whenever. It doesn't matter. There's some big games, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting. South of Midnight also doesn't want to be anywhere close to it. So I have a feeling this is going to be one of those years where we have a lot of stuff that's coming, and then we just get a slew of release dates all at once. I don't know if that's going to happen like in the spring, if they do like a big showcase then, or if they wait till the summer and then they announce release dates at the Xbox showcase. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff that gets last minute release dates. Having said that, if they release the Switch 2 or whatever it ends up being called, maybe in like April or May, May's tricky because almost always in the summertime, game releases dry up because people tend to spend a lot more time outside and are not spending a lot of time playing video games. The Switch could get around that because it's a portable device, but we also don't really know what the next device is like. We don't know if it's just going to be a carbon copy of the Switch, if it's just going to be a more powerful Switch, we don't know. So I think May is maybe late. April could be okay. But I mean, if you don't release in May, you pretty much have to wait till like September, because releasing June, July, August is just always going to be a bad idea. So PS4 specs, from what I've heard, see, I've heard that it's going to be similar in power to like a PS4 Pro, or closer, honestly, to like a 1X. It's doing that with a lot of like upscaling tech as well, so it's not literally just like a 1X handheld, but apparently it's going to use a lot of like DLSS stuff and upscale that way. I don't think it, like, maybe it can run current generation AAA games that can run on the Series S, maybe, but probably not great. But that's also like the Switch the Switch in general as well. Like, if you've never seen the Witcher 3 port on the Switch, the Witcher 3 Switch, like, look at some of this footage. Like, it looks pretty rough, man. If you've never tried it, it's pretty intense.
Areas than others, but they don't degrade the small screen experience in a meaningful way. The magic of Geralt's bobbing hair and the impressive lighting effects quickly fades, however, when you dock the Switch to play it on the big screen. The Witcher 3 only outputs at 720p when it's docked, and boy does that ever drag every one of its downgrades into the harsh light of day. Sure, it maintains a mostly consistent 24 to 30 FPS, but textures are muddy, the poppin' is exponentially more noticeable. I implore you, if you want to play this game on a TV and have access to any other platform, you're doing yourself a disservice running it on Switch. Controlling Geralt feels good for the most part.
I will say, I really don't know if this next console is just a Switch 2, basically. It's just a more powerful Switch. I don't know if it finds the same level of success with third-party games. I really don't think it does, if I had to put money on it, Because part of what made the Switch so successful for like that 2018 to 2020 to 2021 range was that there was no alternative in the handheld space. It was really once the Steam Deck came in, and once we got like other offerings later, like the RG Ally or the Legion, once we saw that, then it started to be able to have competitors where third-party games just frankly ran way better, and so people chose to play there. But until then, the Switch was the only place. So I remember when The Witcher 3 came out on Switch, this was like 4 years ago, so 2019, October 2019. And I remember buying it because I was like, at least I can play the game on the go now. It doesn't look great. It's not the best way to go, but I at least have cloud saves, and I can play the same save file on Switch as I played on my PC and go back and forth. At least it's a portable version. Nowadays, I don't think you could do that. I think if like in the age of the Steam Deck, in the age of the ROG Ally and all these competitors, I just don't know if a less powerful handheld is going to do it justice. Now, I do think that whatever Nintendo's next console is probably still is very successful because it's Nintendo for one. And apparently they're going to have a pretty big catalog of AAA games from their first party studios ready to go at launch. It's been rumored that they will have like a new Mario game. They are maybe going to have a trailer for a new Zelda game. And there's even speculation that they may have a trailer effectively for a new Animal Crossing game, which I think would just print money if they release that again, because the nostalgia of Animal Crossing from lockdowns, I think will carry it a long way. I love Animal Crossing, but I burn out on Animal Crossing because I hate how they set up the economies. I'm that guy. I love Animal Crossing for how chill it is, but I want more capitalism in that game. It drives me crazy that the only way I can make money is by either getting really lucky while fishing or by digging up fossils, of which there are only 3 a day, actual human day, and then praying to God that it has enough bells to make it worth selling. And then I don't get access to it. Then I have to sell it. I give it up when I would just like want to actually put it on display. It drives me crazy. And it's been a thing forever. Even back in the day, like I played Animal Crossing City Folk. I played this so much. I can't even tell you. Me and my whole family played so much of this. And there were, 3 or 4 save files you could have. So basically what we did is me and my siblings, we would share save files. And my little brother, Timmy, he used to get on and he would manipulate the day. So he would set it to like Easter or Christmas or whatever, and then get all of the added buffs and advantages of that and make tons of money that way. So we were always confused because we'd all start like at the same time, and then he'd come in and within a few weeks, real world weeks, he would have just the most expensive house. Everything's fully upgraded. We're always like, how did you do that? It's because he was manipulating the dates like a real Chad. But man, I love me some Animal Crossing. I just hope whatever the next one is, they finally add in a more robust way of making money. Let me open up my own shop. Let me do something. I know it's supposed to be chill, and I know I'm probably asking for something that would directly contradict with the premise of Animal Crossing. And if they gave me what I'm asking for, it wouldn't be Animal Crossing anymore. I'm basically asking for like a 3D version of Stardew Valley, but for the love of God, it drives me crazy how ineffective it is. Also, can we just appreciate that we don't have to do these Wii controls anymore? Like, look at this. Remember this hand? You have to use that to pull up all the menus. It's just looking at it now. It's like, oh God, I'm glad this didn't stay. Like, it was fun for 2006, but damn, it's just a relic of its time. Anyway, all of that to say, I'm very excited for the new Switch console. I think May is pushing it. April's probably a good spot for it to release. And while I don't think it'll have the same appeal to third-party devs as it did back in 2018, 19, 2020, I do think it will still probably find some good success as long as they've got a lot of those AAA first-party titles lined up. I think it'll pop off. So, it'll be good. New gameplay addition for your next game, your own sweatshop. I mean, that's basically what a lot of these simulation games are. So, I like simulation games, though. Okay. Isometric controls? No, the touch controls. Like the, not touch, the gesture controls, the motion controls. Nintendo first party sells consoles. PlayStation first party sells consoles. Xbox first party was so shitty couldn't sell consoles. Well, that's only when they had first party. Like for so much of it, they just didn't even have any part or any first party stuff. Okay. Should we talk about... Let me touch on this real quick, then we'll do the second Assassin's Creed thing, then we'll get into Stalker 2, and then we'll probably have the podcast to do. News segment! This just dropped, and I want to know what you guys think, because I think I know what this is, but I think a lot of other people are going to take it and run with it. Ned Luke. Do you guys know who that is? Do you guys know who that is? Does the name ring a bell? Let me show you a picture. This guy. Does that ring a bell? Recognize him? No? No? Kinda? What if I said the name Michael? Yep, Michael. Michael DeSanta. He is the voice actor and performer that played Michael in Grand Theft Auto 5. So he's got connections with it. Of course, he hasn't done anything since like 2013 when the game came out, but he often does like cameos. He still talks to people about it all the time. He's a big fan of the community. He's just a really, really nice guy from what I can tell. And he posted something very simple. He posted something very, very simple. This morning, actually. August 16th. Stay tuned. 5 stars. Now, previously when he's posted the 5 stars thing, he's referring to something related to Grand Theft Auto. So a lot of people saw this and were like, oh God, it's happening. It's happening. Oh God, they're going to announce another trailer. They're going to drop another trailer for GTA 6. It's happening. And they're bringing Michael into the game. Oh God. Oh God. And then he followed it up with something that immediately got me a little less convinced that this was GTA 6 related. He posted this with Stephen Ogg also tagging the Asus ROG handle. Now, it appears that they are in a dressing room. It appears like they are getting done up in makeup and costumes and hair, which to me would suggest maybe they're filming a commercial or something like that. And the fact that they're tagging Asus makes me think that this is probably some sort of GTA 5 online like integration into the Asus family. Maybe they're doing a big Grand Theft Auto Online trailer for the ROG Ally X. Maybe they're doing something like that. But this pretty much immediately made me go, oh, okay. I think if they tagged Take-Two or if they tagged Rockstar Games or something, I'd be more inclined to believe this is something like a bigger deal. But I'm guessing it's probably just a like online update or something. Maybe they're going to announce some crazy like DLC. I don't think so though. I think honestly, it's just this. Now, it is surprising to see Stephen Ogg because Stephen Ogg has historically said and done some kind of nasty things to fans of the franchise. People will pay him for cameos as Trevor and be like, "Hey, can you do a cameo and like yell at me as Trevor? That would be fun." And he's just been kind of nasty about it. Let me see if I can find... where is it? Where is it? Maybe Cameo, if I search that.
Hello, YouTube. How?
Just show me the clip. Show me the, yeah.
Well. Jason. Lucia. What the fuck a duck-a-duck-a-do? Good old Hugo Montego wanted a little message sent to you. So that's who you can thank or not thank or say, why the fuck did you do this for me? That's up to you. Believe that
I'm already very, very uncomfortable. Somebody spent like $140 for this.
to your judgment. You wanted me to give you this message from Trevor, which, of course, I'm not Trevor. My name is Steven. And I am an actor. And I'm a recovering actor. Yeah, so I get it in a sense, and I don't get it in a big sense, too. You know what I'm saying with that? Because as actors, you portray different characters. And it would be literally impossible for me to be a cartoon. I mean...
It's the most boomer thing ever to hear somebody refer to a video game character as a cartoon. Is that not just the most, like, boomer thing you've ever heard?
Literally impossible for me to be a cartoon. Like, I can't be. And even other characters, right? That's an actor's job. So, I need to get that off my chest. I just sometimes don't fucking understand. I get it and I don't get it, right?
I'm going to pause it here and remind you that I paid $140 for this video.
Being redundant, being repetitive, but fuck, look at us. Driving around together, you know, that's kind of fun. Right?
What do you have on your lip? It's gross.
Sure it is. But he did want to, Hugo wanted to make sure that you both of yous are careful in Vice City. Vice City, I don't know what that is.
Like, it seems as though he actively feels contempt for his own fans. He mocks them, derides them, says, I'm not a cartoon character, I'm an actor, stupid. I don't know how you don't understand this. Like, either he just doesn't understand Cameo, which is not great because it's really not that hard to understand, or he just actively dislikes the people that love his performance in Grand Theft Auto 5. Either way, it's just kind of pathetic. Yeah, he seems like a fun guy. Yeah, it's just, I feel like he's just tired of it. Sure. Like, this is something that I think a lot of people have felt. Rain, there was a good little clip. There was a good clip of Rainn Wilson and Steve Carell talking about The Office. And let me see if I can find it. Maybe it was just a really solid clip where he's talking, like they're talking about it, and Steve Carell's like, no, we should be thankful that people know us as those characters and that the characters are so big in people's lives that it's crossed over from like fake to real. You know, that should be humbling. Maybe if I just search this, I can find it. It's from this interview. That's what it looked like. Maybe this is it.
I can't say enough good things about Steve Carell. I mean, as a human being, but I learned so much watching him work.
Bet.
He is, I think I'm a very good actor.
No, this is just them complimenting each other. Damn it. I was hoping I could find that. Does anyone know the clip I'm talking about it? Rainn Wilson on type casting. No. Maybe if I just Google it, maybe then I'll find it. Damn it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it. Bummer, dude. It's such a good clip. Because basically they talk about it. And they talk about how like they were so frustrated. Some of these actors were so frustrated being typecast and like fans approaching him and calling him Dwight instead of Rainn, like his actual name. He's like, it just drove me crazy for the longest time. And then one day I realized how humbling it should be and how much of a compliment it was that for somebody to come up to us and then identify us as our characters that we've been portraying. That's the greatest compliment an actor could receive. Like your performance was so real that it became real to them, you know? And you should be humbled and appreciative that the fans, even now, a decade after the show, still want to talk to you and still want to hear your thoughts on it. And for somebody like Stephen Ogg, where it's like, yeah, you played a character in a video game over a decade ago and people still want to hear you. People still want to talk to you. People still want to have you pretend to be that character yelling at them. And yet he just seems to have the ego trip complaining about it and then like actively having contempt for those gamers, being like, I'm not a cartoon, stupid. It's just weird, dude, especially when people give you money. It's one thing if a celebrity, or like in this case, you know, probably more like a C or D lister, if they freak out at the paparazzi on the street, okay, you're just doing your own thing, living your life, and somebody comes up and it costs you. Okay, maybe you're just having a bad day. I could see that. But with this, like somebody gave you $140 and then you're going to actively deride them, it just kind of sucks. So personally at this point with Stephen Ogg, after all the clips I've seen, because that's not the only one, there are many clips of him behaving that way towards fans of Grand Theft Auto. I'm not that interested in his participation of this, but Ned Luke being here and looking ready to go is good to see. Us Lukes have to stick together, and he seems like a genuinely very, very nice guy, very good guy. And so it's good to see him excited about whatever they're doing, but we'll see what Stephen Ogg does. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's he would much rather be known for Westworld, for Walking Dead, Better Call Saul and stuff than Grand Theft Auto. So be it. I think Stephen Ogg needs to seek therapy. I just think he did a video game and got a big role in a video game, and he's driven crazy that more people recognize him for that than for his artistic endeavors. You know. He gets beat up by an elderly man in Better Call Saul. Oh, maybe I should watch that clip again. If we wouldn't get struck down, I'd pull that up. So anyway, something's happening there. Okay, let's transition to this, and then we'll talk about Stalker 2. New segment! Okay, this is the second one we're going to do on Assassin's Creed Shadows, so we'll stagger this one. New segment! Assassin's Creed Shadows' dev time is even longer than the massive AC Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
As Ubisoft wants the RPG's depiction of Japan to be, quote, as authentic as possible. Two things on this. Number one, it is true that it's been a very, very long dev cycle. Very, very long. That's why a lot of expectations are quite high. Because this is the team that did Odyssey. And with that game, they had what? That game came out 2018. Syndicate, their last game, came out 2015. So they had 3 years to put Odyssey together, and that game was massive. This time around, they've had 4 years. That's a lot of time. So they've been putting a lot of time into it. a lot of effort, a lot of money. So people have really high expectations. But Ubisoft keeps trying to pivot and frame this as needing time to make sure that the depiction of Japan is as authentic as possible. And this is like the butting heads thing of the marketing cycle, because on the one hand, they don't want you to take it super seriously. They want you to be like, yeah, it's fictional, which is why we're doing everything with Yasuke and kind of fudging the historical record. But then they say stuff like this and they're like, well, it's actually because we want it to be really, really authentic. I'm like, but like not that authentic, clearly. So it's weird to me that they keep going back on like how they want to frame it. But they say, Ubisoft says the wait for AC Shadows was longer than Valhalla because the team gave itself the time to iterate and ensure an accurate depiction of feudal Japan. Excuse me. At 3 years, AC Valhalla was one of the biggest games in terms of development time, but Shadows has outgrown that by a full year. Speaking to Games Industry Biz, Carl Onier explains that you could put together an Assassin's Creed game quicker than the team managed to do with Shadows, but that wouldn't necessarily lead to a great game. It's always a balance between time and costs, but the more time you have, the more you can iterate, he says. Yes, you can put more people on a project and do it in a shorter time, but that doesn't give you more time to iterate because it takes time to get the feedback from your players, your team, and then see what works and what doesn't and how to improve it. 4 years, I think, is the right balance to go from conception to production and get the feedback necessary to adapt. This makes me wonder if this is the new internal time frame they're shooting for. They're just going to start doing 4-year dev cycles on everything, which does seem to be about right. Because the team that did Valhalla is now working on Hexe, and that's probably 2026. And that means by the time they finished full support for Valhalla, they will have been working on it for like 3 to 4 years. So lines up. Another reason for AC Shadows' lengthier development is the team's desire to create a game that is as, quote, authentic, end quote, as possible. Ubisoft's depiction of Japan has, whoops, that's weird. It refreshed. Wait, did it go to a different? It did go to a different page. Oh, that's funny. It went to another. It went to another story. Did I actually click on something? How did I even do that? I think I actually clicked on this. That's funny. Okay, that's funny. Because we've already talked about this article. Okay, anyway. They wanted it to be as authentic as possible. Ubisoft's depiction of Japan has long been a talking point, with the studio recently apologizing for promotional material that's caused concern within the Japanese community, end quote. Speaking about the team's efforts to achieve authentic representation, though, Onier says says it's a matter of pride for the team, and also it's a very long process to get it right. When we build a Japanese house from feudal Japan, it's very different from, say, a French medieval house or an English one, he says. So you have to learn as an artist where things go inside a feudal Japanese house. Maybe the food doesn't go there. You have to get everything you need to know and learn it. And that process is long. It's not feudal Japan, obviously, but it's a good, but it is good to go on site, because it is only then that we realize it is very different to what we think it is. It is very interesting because the team went there. One of those things that jumped out was the forests and how they are. We had made some forests based on the Greece landscape for Odyssey, but when we went, we noticed it was very different to what we've done, and we had to change it. You won't necessarily find that stuff out when doing historical research. These are some of the small things that are very important because you get a better sense of the dimensions of the building, of the culture, of the monuments and shrines still standing today. It's very important to represent all of that correctly. Which I can appreciate, the desire to get forests accurate, to get dimensions of houses and the placements of food and all that. I can understand why they'd want to push that. But I just think right now there are two kind of conflicting narratives with Shadows, and that is both that they want it to be treated as a fantasy game, not fantasy, as a fictional game, kind of historical fiction. And then they also want it to be looked at as a historical game that takes a lot of the nuance into consideration, where they're really paying attention to all those little details. And I can appreciate that. But I think that, like, because there are two conflicting narratives going on with the game at the same time, you're going to end up with some confusion from the fan base. So I would say let's just unify it. If you want to double down on the historical accuracy, maybe it is that, like, yeah, the game is really authentic to Japan and to the setting and time period. We did a lot of work on that. Yes, Yasuke, we kind of fudged the historical record a good bit, but we think the game is still going to be fun. Bada bing, bada boom. That's fine. A lot of people are still going to throw fits about it. That's going to happen regardless. They probably weren't going to buy the game anyways, so you're probably not losing out on many sales. But as long as you're able to like form a consistent narrative, at least that we can work with that. But right now, it just feels like they don't really know how to juggle it. And I get the sense that there's a little bit of chaos going on within the marketing teams because they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. Because on the one hand, they have the core fan base, which is just like go over to a Jor Raptor video. Jor Raptor's community is very, very Assassin's Creed focused. And they're like, yeah, looks good. The game looks really solid. There's a couple things I might point out, but they're just generally excited to get a new Assassin's Creed game. But then you go over to somebody like Asmongold, and then he'll make a video talking about AC Shadows. And you would think that this game is like developed by Satan himself. Like, it's unbelievable. It's crazy, like how bad it is. And they should be canceled. And they should be ashamed of themselves, blah, blah, blah. And as with most things, the truth and where most people, the average gamer probably lands is somewhere in the middle. I think some gamers on the more casual side of things are going to be like, cool, it's a new Assassin's Creed game. I haven't played one since lockdown. Yeah, I'm excited for this. Mirage was fine, but it wasn't like a full game, so I'm excited to try this one. And then other people are going to look at it and be like, well, it's a little weird that it's a game set in feudal Japan, and I'm playing a black character as a samurai. I don't know how that makes sense. That's a little odd. And maybe that prevents them from picking up the box and buying it. Maybe it doesn't affect it at all. Maybe they still do buy it. We just don't know yet. But I think right now Ubisoft knows that that's still up in the air, and they're trying to figure out which narrative to deal with or how, or if they should just ignore it, because I don't think they figured it out yet. I think they're still trying to figure out which path to take, but they certainly are taking a lot more time with the game. And I think that gets some people excited that they are really giving it time to cook and to hopefully end up really solid. But they also are setting expectations with that dev cycle. And I think people are going to expect the game to be really huge, to have a ton of content, and hopefully they can deliver on that. Samaya wins the podcast. It is in 38 minutes with the one and only Joe Raptor. That's what we're going to do. Have they shown any of the RPG-ness of this game? No. I mean, as of right now, they haven't. They've basically shown two paths to taking out an assassination target within the castle, and that's about it. They will eventually show a lot more. I'm certain of it, but I think they're just waiting for Star Wars Outlaws to be out the door. I would guess within like a week or two of Star Wars Outlaws releasing, I would guess they start to go ham on the marketing cycle for this. That's my guess. I think they just don't want to step on each other's toes, which makes sense. I mean, they shouldn't. So, okay. I want to go over the Stalker 2 stuff, but I'm not sure if we'll have time because the deep dive is 35 minutes long. So even if we just hit play and didn't say anything the entire time, we wouldn't have time. And then we have the trailer, which is also 5 minutes. So maybe we do that Wednesday. Because I don't want to rush it. I don't want to only watch 5 minutes of it. I'd like to go through the whole thing if we can. We've got time. The game isn't releasing this year, so we've got time to talk about it, but Oh, today's Wednesday? Oh god, dude. My brain is so fried. So I guess Friday or tomorrow if we do a stream tomorrow. Thoughts on Dragon Age: The Veilguard tomorrow? Oh yeah, we'll do that because they're gonna do the release date reveal tomorrow morning. So Yeah, maybe we do a smaller stream tomorrow. We can do this tomorrow. That could be good. That could be good. Wait, Luke, you're a stalker? Confirmed? Oh, God. It's Wednesday. Yeah, dude, I'm so mentally fried. Oh, did I say Stalker 2 isn't coming out this year? No, I think it was delayed by like, how much was it delayed recently? Oh, dude, that's funny. If you Google Stalker 2 release, the top common search is Stalker 2 ever going to come out? That's funny. Yeah, it got delayed to November. It looks like is the most recent one. So, yeah, the devs were absolutely committed to hitting this period, but on the technical side of things, we needed more time. Come on. Come on. Loading. Yeah, this was January of 24. They said that they were absolutely committed to September 5th, and then they delayed it to November. Where's the post for the November delay? Where is it? Where is it? July 31st. Yeah. Heart of Chernobyl will now be launching on November 20th, 2024, moving from the previously planned date of September 5th. So it's slid again. It's not next year, very end of this year. Assuming it doesn't get canceled again. So Elias, please stop. Stalker is best played when buggy. If you polish it too much, it might lose the unexpected enjoyment of the previous game generated due to those unexpected anomalies. It's not real Stalker if it isn't jank. Huh. Must be a Bethesda fan, exactly, Timothy. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I've never seen anybody, I know they're joking, but I don't think I've seen somebody just like openly be like, please release it broken. Pretty please. Like, I definitely like Starfield. Samaya, thank you for the super chat. I'm glad they're focused on historical accuracy. AC Odyssey had the best discovery tour. As a person who loves history, it's one of my favorite features in modern AC. Yeah, even AC Origins had a pretty good discovery tour. So we'll see if they do that again. But yeah, I just think narratively they're fighting two fights at the same time. They're fighting on two fronts. They're trying to convince people that the game is really historically grounded, but then also people are pointing to like the protagonist where it seems like they fudged the historical record a bit, which again is like, I don't really have a problem with them fudging the historical record. In AC2, like you literally have a fist fight with the Pope. This was never about historical accuracy. Like it just never was. But when like we're going back and forth and then you're saying it is super historically accurate, but then it's not, like it just leads to unnecessary confusion, you know? Yeah. The problem is I'm trying to gaslight the, well, I mean, I think that's something everybody detests is like, whenever you tell your audience that they're wrong for what they're perceiving, that's an issue. People aren't wrong for what they're perceiving. People are looking at it and telling you how they feel. And they feel like, hey, it seems kind of odd that you're setting a game in feudal Japan and then you don't have a Japanese, like a fully Japanese cast of protagonists or playable characters. Just seems strange. I understand the reasoning that they gave where they're like, well, we wanted to use Yasuke because he's new to this land, so he's looking at it through fresh eyes, and that could be something that players relate to. But you know what players also wouldn't really be able to relate to is people like bowing to them as they walk through the city streets. I think it would be more interesting if you played somebody that started like from absolute squalor. You know, they were not raised rich or wealthy, and then they climbed their way up. Like that could be really interesting. But and so we went this route. And so I just think, again, perception is reality. You got to deal with how people perceive the game, not with necessarily the plain facts of the case. Like, it very well could be the case that they chose Yasuke because they genuinely thought, you know, it's nothing DEI related. It could be that it was that they just honestly thought that was the most interesting character they had in the lineup, so they chose to go that route. But the perception is that it was done because of, you know, a desire for placating activists, and it was done because they thought it would be really hip and cool, and then they're gaslighting everybody into thinking it's historical. And it's like, that's the perception you have to deal with because that's what people are taking from it. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't think it really affects sales. I think what's going to affect sales is how good the game is. I don't think the casual consumer gives that many craps about it. We've seen games that have had very diverse casts that do very, very well. And we've also seen games that are like the most non-diverse, heterogeneous, whatever, or homogeneous, I think is technically what I meant, because it's the same. So yeah, anyway, we've seen casts and games with extremely just flat castings that also perform really well, and then sometimes also do really bad. Because at the end of the day, if you want your game to sell, the game just has to be good. And if the game is good, it'll probably sell well. If the game's bad, it'll probably sell bad. It's just not that complicated. AC Shadow seems like a worse version of Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, it might be, but we just don't know a whole lot about the game. Like, we just don't. From what it seems to me, they're going to be very different games. One is about like fidelity and sort of a tighter scope, but a much higher like production value and much more artsy in the form of Ghost of Tsushima. And then with AC Shadows, it seems like that one is about scale. It's going to be the Odyssey, basically. And that's going to connect with a lot of people and not with others, as you would expect. But okay, fam. So what we'll do is we'll talk tomorrow about about Dragon Age the Veilguard release date, all that. We'll talk about that tomorrow, and then we'll also look at Stalker 2's stuff tomorrow because I don't want to rush it. And beyond that, we will be back Friday, rocking and rolling. We have the podcast with Joe Raptor in about half an hour, so get up, stretch your legs, go walk around, use the bathroom, grab a drink, whatever. We'll be back with Joe Raptor here. I'll create the stream event right after this stream shuts down, so just wait a few minutes, refresh, and you should see it there, so you can load in there. But we'll talk about lots of stuff. It's going to be awesome, okay? So thank you so much for all of the super chats, likes on the stream, all the crazy number of viewers, over 1,000 in here. Across platforms. That's tremendous. Greatly appreciate you guys. We will see you very, very soon for the podcast. Much love. See you then.